The Indiana Pacers win game 6, 108-91. It wasn't really close past maybe like midway through the second quarter, defying all odds, if you will. Tyrese Haliburton ended up playing. We'll start with game 6 thoughts before we move in later to game 7. What did you think about this blowout and this dominant Pacers victory?
Yeah, just as a whole series, I felt like you're looking back at it, I feel like the role that the Pacers, like role players have played have just been significantly better than anything that the Thunder have been able to show out. I feel like the Thunder have mostly just been SGA and Jalen Williams for the most part, and even Jalen Williams slacking at times. Then Chet Holmgren has just been nowhere to be found in some of these games. He only had, 4 points yesterday, and has just been atrocious in some of the games in this series. Feels like the guys that we've been like vaunted and talking about throughout the course of like these playoffs about OKC having so much depth. It's just been the complete opposite, where a lot of the role players for the Pacers, Andrew Nemhard, Obi Toppin, have just been consistently showing out for them. And I feel like that's been the difference in the series. When you're looking at Alex Caruso, who's only had 2 points in his last 2 games, you're looking at Lou Dort, who hasn't had a very good series in general, Aaron Wiggins, who had stepped up in previous series, Cason Wallace, Isaiah Joe. You can go down a list of players who you think should have had better series, or should be having better series, who haven't really been giving them anything. And SGA has been the guy to really step up and win them most of these games, or Jalen Williams. But when he's not doing that, when SGA only has 20 points, when Jalen Williams doesn't have the greatest game in the world, they don't have anybody to fall back on right now, and it's unfortunate because for at least for OKC fans, because now they're in a situation where anything can happen in a game 7.
Yeah, missing Chet Holmgren in this game was probably one of the biggest factors. Him having only 4 points. And as you mentioned, now you're getting a couple straight pretty poor games from Caruso, and you just need more. And like when you take a look at the box score, it's a little bit misleading because obviously, like, this game was far over. Like, I don't know if Tyrese Halliburton played in the fourth quarter or played much in the fourth. Like, yeah, he had 23 minutes for the game. Like, this game was over far and away. So some of the stats may be a little bit misleading, but they just didn't have enough from Chet. And when they need to look at their bench to get more scoring, it just simply wasn't there in this game. And then the Pacers, man, being at home, Tyrese Halliburton playing, being a go, and also not being bad was just such an emotional boost. And I feel like that can't go understated in a sense. Pascal Siakam was at least pretty decent as well in this game. But yeah, I mean, if you're going to get 32 points from Obi Toppin and TJ McConnell off the bench, like in the time that they ended up playing in this game, you're going to have a pretty good shot. If Chet isn't going to be playing well, Jalen Williams isn't going to exactly be the guy he was in game 6 or anywhere even close. It's a recipe for success. It was just kind of a perfect storm for the Pacers. And I don't know if you saw this during the broadcast, or after at all on any of the social media stuff, but there were so many Pacers legends in the like legends used spare, like
Yeah.
lightly, but like big figures in the Pacers history of their franchise out there for game 6. Like you had Meta World Peace, Lance Stevenson, Reggie Miller, like all like from all different kind of eras in attendance for this game. And there were a ton more. Rick Smits, I think, was there too. Like this just feels like their back was against the wall. Tyrese Halliburton was going to go out there, made a few threes, and they scored when they needed to, and they got this game over quick. I don't know. I just thought it was an amazing emotional game for the Pacers for sure in game 6 too.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, backs were against the wall for the Pacers side of it, and it just felt like OKC didn't have any sort of that desperation. I feel like Shea says all the right things, and the Thunder team can play like it at times, but like they still have that youngness about them where like this game they knew they didn't need to win it, but it puts them in a bad spot for even game 7 because you have that emotional victory from the like obviously the actual win, but then the emotional victory of not having to play Tyrese Halliburton all those minutes. When he did play, he wasn't bad on the court, and now you go into game 7 and you just would rather close it out in game 6, and it just didn't feel like OKC had any sort of desperation. It felt like they came out and played decent. They came out of the gates decently, and then as soon as Indiana like got close and then broke it open, they didn't even try to win this game.
Yeah, it also feels like OKC on the road compared to home is definitely you see a little bit of a difference there. And yeah, best case scenario for the Pacers, like the way that they're set up for game 7 is definitely what they wanted, exactly what they wanted. I don't know exactly the severity of Tyrese Halliburton's injury, but he looked pretty decent out there in game 6. And if he can just have a few more days of resting up, they're going to just go all the way in on whatever they need to do. This is now, I think, getting to the territory of he's just going to like lay his body out on the line for a championship. And I think that that's That's okay with me. Doing it in game 6, I was a little bit more like cautious about it, but doing it in game 7, I definitely can see any player wanting to do that. I also kind of wanted to touch on a little bit. I believe you mentioned Nimhard and Neesmith. The guard rotation for this Pacers team is definitely been able to be there when Tyrese Halliburton hasn't in this entire series. And I think that that is probably the biggest thing for them, and something definitely I wanted to mention. I don't know if you have any kind of stronger takes about the way that Chet Holmgren is playing too, like going on the other side now for OKC. But him having 4 points in this game 6, like I need to, if I'm the Thunder, I need to make sure that he is comfortable early in game 7, because this is getting to a point now where people are looking at him. It's been this entire series now where it's just like, I don't know what he's averaging for the series. I want to say almost is probably bordering under 10 points now. Like he's getting to that range. They need to make sure he's comfortable.
Yeah, so he's averaging 11 and 9 right now, which isn't like terrible on paper, but he last game, or at least this past game, he only was 11% from 3 and 37% from the field, or not from last game, from this whole series. He's been 11% from 3 and 37% from the field. You just picture that. He's only making one of every 10 3-point shots. That you can't have your third best player doing that. And then I wanted to start on maybe the front end of what you were talking about with Indiana's rotation of guards between Aaron Nesmith, like Benedict Mathurin, Andrew Nemhard, TJ McConnell. Like they have four solid guards besides Tyrese Halliburton that have been playing their tails off in the series and have really kept them in the series. Andrew Nemhard, like his series to date wasn't that great, but game 6 he really stepped up both offensively and defensively. We like highlighted coming into the series that he was a great perimeter defensive guard, and he had held like Donovan Mitchell and Damian Lillard in his limited time in those series, and even Jalen Brunson at times to like subpar like shooting performances and just subpar games. He did the same thing with SGA today. He had a really good game. And then you look at Benedict Mathurin. He had a couple of really good games where he stepped up for the Pacers. Aaron Nesmith has just been one of their more consistent guards all season long. And then TJ McConnell has like not come out of nowhere, but relative to some of the other series that he's played, he has had a really, really good NBA Finals. He's averaging over 2 steals a game, averaging more than 12 points a game, and has been one of the drivers for this Indiana Pacers team. So I want to start on that side of it, and then Chet. You just have to have more from your third best player. He is universally named like the Oklahoma City's third best player at this point, and he can have big games when he needs to. And he had a good game 2 and game 3, at least for the first half of those games. But when you look at like some of these other games, he just has not been very good, and you just need more from him, especially given the fact that like if we're going from like a baseline, 4 points can't be that baseline like in any scenario when he's the third best player on a championship team.
And it helps if he's not playing all that well. Two for the Thunder, that Miles Turner hasn't been good. It's essentially been like a bit of a wash between those two, especially in game 6. But the Indiana Pacers bench and their scoring just in general has just been amazing. I mean, they had 6 guys in double figures in game 6.
Yeah, and I like want to like get based off the fact that like some of at least from the Pacer side of it, there's been so many people that have stepped up. I want to like maybe pose this to you: if you're going through Game 7, the Pacers end up winning, who do you give the Finals MVP to at this point?
I still would probably. Is it crazy to say Tyrese Halliburton?
Like definitely a little bit, yeah.
I think I would still give it to him. I mean, obviously it depends on how he plays in game 7, but I think I just think that he's been such an X factor for them the entire playoffs. Maybe it feels like a lifetime achievement award in a sense where you kind of just have to give it to him. I mean, TJ McConnell, I'd have to see what his series averages are, but like, I mean, it's pretty unbelievable the way that he stepped up. But Pascal Siakam can't be ignored in this too. I mean, if he gets it, I wouldn't be mad either. He's been there for this entire series and pretty reliable in that sense. So, um, those are the 3 guys I would be watching, and it's even insane to say TJ McConnell. But imagine if TJ McConnell had 25 points in game 7 or something, like he might get a vote.
He might get multiple votes. I don't see why he wouldn't be in the running for that, especially given the fact that he has like directly contributed to winning some of the games that they have won. I think Pascal Siakam's probably like the front runner for this award just because of the fact that Tyrese Halliburton has like at least 3 games where you can think of in the series where he has been like not only like not like he hasn't been just decent. He's been bad. Like games 1 and 2, he was pretty bad, even despite like being Indiana's leading scorer because of all those garbage time points in game 2. And obviously game 5, like he wasn't very good in that game either, in game 1. But I obviously like he has the game winner in game 1, and then there are just like some like he'd get votes no matter what, even if he was averaging 10-5 this series. So I think that it's definitely a toss up at this point, especially if Tyrese Halliburton can play battle through this injury and get a bunch of points in game 7. But I think that on the Pacers side of things, it literally comes down to game 7 with who'd get the Finals MVP votes.